American Experiment is a growing, thriving organization. We've got 19 people now, and every year we have more impact than the year before.
Well, the economy kind of got pushed to the side. There was an awful lot of economic damage that was wrought by COVID-19 and by the policy response to it. So, for example, one of the big ones of those was the state's COVID-19 model that was lashed together over a weekend by a few graduate students. So I was able to look at the data that went into it and to see that there really wasn't much basis in it. And we didn't need a fancy epidemiological model that was being touted on the TV all the time. So, for example, I contacted and spoke with local journalists, and I did start to see some of the points that we made show up in some of the questioning that Governor Walz got. And he had to kind of abandon this thing, I'm driven by the science and the data, when people pointed out that this model was a load of hogwash. And the only people who will ask kind of critical questions and really kind of keep their finger on something is us in many cases.
I did a lot of work on fighting against tax hikes. I also testified in the House and the Senate. Minnesota is actually one of the most highly taxed states in the nation. So if you raise it higher, actually, it might be the highest in the country. So we have seen Governor Walz drop some of those tax hikes. He has scaled back on some. And we also found out that we're actually spending more now than at any other point in history. Minnesota spends $30,000 per person in poverty, which is the third highest in the country.
American Experiment is the only group that's looking out for Minnesota families and businesses and trying to make sure that their electricity costs are as low as possible. The Walz administration is really trying to use every avenue at their disposal to push the Green New Deal, and conservatives haven't had a voice. So we've had thousands of signatures pushing back on California car mandates, Excel's Green New Deal.
We're lucky we have a diverse fuel supply here in Minnesota. A lot of our electricity comes from coal and nuclear power as well.
And we really need to keep up pressure on lawmakers, and we're protecting the interests of all Minnesotans by keeping prices low and our electricity reliable.
American Experiment launched a campaign called RaiseOurStandardsMN.com. Response was immediate. We had thousands of Minnesotans not only visit the website, RaiseOurStandardsMN.com, but also send a letter to the Department of Ed and the Social Studies Committee saying, wow, this content in the first draft is very concerning. And due to that significant feedback and other feedback from across the state, the Department of Ed and committee said we need to slow down the revision process. The department and the Social Studies Committee in their first draft made an admitted shift in how social studies content is to be taught. And frankly, without American Experiment's involvement, I don't think that this revision process would have gotten the awareness that it's currently getting. And all it takes is getting involved with our campaign at RaiseOurStandardsMN.com.
Thinking Minnesota has been a tremendous success. We didn't know what would happen when we debuted the magazine now 6 years ago, but it's grown rapidly. We print about 100,000 copies now per issue, subscription base of about 85,000. Then we print 15,000 more for prospecting and to have copies on hand to give out at events and so forth. And it's become really one of the most important publications here in Minnesota. One of the basic problems here in Minnesota is our government spends too much money. We can't have lower taxes until we have less spending. And so to dramatize the wasteful spending that our state government engages in, we've inaugurated the Golden Turkey Award. It's been very successful because it effectively highlights with specific examples how cavalierly our state government wastes the taxpayers' money.
The American Experiment, which is known as Minnesota's think tank, has produced research that I know I have relied on, as well as many of my peers in public service, to inform our votes and our legislative work. Frankly, the American Experiment's research on the economy, our education system, healthcare, and state and local governance has not only added to our cultural experience here in Minnesota, but it really has added to the political and legislative discussions here in this state and beyond.